The two boys flanked the calf, and Reg, 17, the older of the pair, notched her left ear on the underside. His 15-year-old brother painted it. Then they stretched the bawling critter between them for the branding. "We're ready for you," Reg said. Chet went for an iron and went back to apply it. He glanced up to see someone coming. The firebrand was stamped on the calf's right side, and the bitter smoke from the singed hair filled Chet's nose. He looked again at the rider driving in hard. "It's Susie," Reg said, standing beside him. "Wonder what in the hell's wrong now?" "Rustlers," she said, out of breath, and skidded the lathered bay to a sliding stop on his hind legs. Chet ran over to his 20-year-old sister. "Rustling what?" "They took all the horses in the north pasture and headed out with them." "In broad daylight?" Chet asked her in disbelief. "What fools would do that?" "Yes, 2 hours ago. I had to wait for May to get back to watch the children. You know Mother can't do that." He gave her a grave nod. His mother, Teresa, hadn't been right in her mind since the Comanche took little Kegel. Then, when those Reds got the twins, Philip and Josephine, she'd lost it all. "Who was it?" he asked. "I don't know for sure, but I think one of them was a Reynolds. I recognized his paint horse." "What in the hell's going on?" Dale Allen asked, coming over on his stout roping horse from where he had been working on his saddle over at the side. "Rustlers took our covey out of the north pasture a couple of hours ago," Chet said. "You boys put out that fire. Reg, you go get Pa and Heck up here. Branding's over for today." "Is May back?" Dale Allen asked about his wife as he sat on his fretting horse that circled around under him. Susie nodded. "I had to wait for her to get back to watch Ma and the kids." "They've got a big head start," Chet said, "but they can't race that many horses." "They can sure scatter them from hell to breakfast." Dale Allen shook his head in disgust. "Ah, they must be nuts," Chet said, the consuming anger firing his veins. "They sure as hell know we'll run them down. We won't stand in here." Chet heard his impatient brother's comment and tried to ignore it. When he could see Reg and the two others riding up from the cow herd, he went for his mount. "Pa's coming with Heck. You tell them what's happened." Damn, what next? About the time the Comanche had been run off that part of Texas, white rustlers had taken their place. There were close to 60 broke horses in that pasture, and Chet intended to use them on their cattle drive in the spring. No small investment, and one he could ill afford to lose. He had every intention of sending Dale Allen as the ramrod on this year's push north. Chet had been up there several times, and possessed no big urge to sit on a horse that long again. Besides, it was his brother's turn. Chet needed to gather up another herd for the following year, something he was better at than anyone else in the family. Most of it involved dealing with Mexicans on the border. Anymore, the cattle available for them to drive north besides their own had to be brought up from deep in Mexico. Those were the last remaining ones aside from them, from the small outfit's assignments. He tightened the cinch on his blue roan and threw a leg over, reining him back to the others. Even in the distance, he could see how red Pa's face was over the news of the theft. The old man hated rustlers, red or white. Waving his finger at all of them, the old man shouted, "I want them sons of bitches hung by the neck till they're dead." "We'll catch 'em, Pa. We're headed for the house to get some grub, bedrolls, and rifles. They won't get away." "Well, by God, they've got a good head start." "Easy. You'll have your ticker all upset," Chet said, concerned about the old man's anger flaring up his heart again. Pa spit to the side and wiped his mouth on the back of his hand. "If I was 10 years younger, I'd go after 'em by myself." Chet nodded. From his boyhood, he recalled how the old man and a posse went to look for the abducted Kegel. When they returned empty-handed, Pa was never the same. But it was his last desperate trip 5 years later, looking for the twins as he pursued the Comanche, that hurt his heart so deeply. He hadn't been heard from for 3 months. Nothing to eat, nothing to drink for days. He'd returned broken down and demented from his relentless pursuit and coming up empty-handed. For months on end afterward, he never said a word, simply sat on the front porch in a rocker and stared off at nothing. That year, Chet turned 18 and began running the ranch, and had ever since. His brother, Dale Allen, younger by